The moment Joe Rogan leaned forward, lowered his voice, and said, "People don't know the real Erika Kirk," the entire internet froze, not paused, not slowed. Froze because Joe doesn't talk like that unless the truth he's about to drop is so explosive, so reputation-ending, so politically radioactive, that even he has to think twice before saying it out loud. Jamie stopped moving. Candace sat up straight. Producers behind the camera exchanged nervous glances. Joe tapped his fingers slowly against the desk, exhaled, and said, "Someone has been lying. For years, before the audience had a chance to breathe." Candace Owens, who rarely agrees with Joe, let alone interrupts him, cut in with a voice tighter than a pulled bowstring. "No, Joe, not someone. Her Erika has been lying. And the lies aren't small. They're dangerous." The podcast room went silent, completely, uncomfortably, dangerously. Still, Candace continued, "I've seen the screenshots she deleted, the calls she denies making, the receipts she swears don't exist, and the things she said about Charlie, about the movement, about the power she wants. None of them match the image she's selling to the world." The chat went insane. What did Erika say? Is this about the First Lady rumor? Drop the receipts. What's going on? Candace never talks like this. But Joe wasn't done. He pulled out a folder, thick, marked up, covered in redacted pages. He dropped it on the desk. The sound echoed. Jamie flinched. Candace swallowed hard. Joe said, "This is everything she hoped no one would ever find." And then, like a man detonating a bomb, he opened the folder to the first page. A printed transcript. Her voice. Her words. A private conversation she thought was deleted forever. "Charlie trusts to Izzy. He has no idea what I'm planning." Candace stared straight into the camera and said, "That was Erika. And trust me, that was the least shocking thing she said." The internet erupted. This is crazy. What is she planning? Is this about politics? What else did Erika say? Don't stop now. Joe leaned closer to the mic, eyes locked on the screen like he was warning America itself. "People think Erika is innocent. But what we found proves she's been playing everyone." He slid the next paper forward, and Candace's hand actually shook when she touched it. "We're exposing it all," she said. "No more lies. No more manipulation. No more pretending." Joe nodded. "Our viewers need to hear the truth. Because the things Erika told people privately, the things she's been hiding, they change everything." Then he said the line that made millions of people stop breathing. "This isn't just a scandal. This is a blueprint." Long before Joe Rogan slammed that redacted folder onto the desk. Long before Candace Owens whispered that Erika Kirk had been lying for years. Long before the internet united in collective shock. This story was already in motion, and it began far away from cameras, microphones, and viral clips. It began with Erika herself, because everyone thinks they know who Erika Kirk is. They see the polished smile, the curated outfits, the carefully controlled public persona, quiet, graceful Bible in hand, unproblematic, classy, poised. The woman who always speaks softly even when chaos is erupting around her. But the people who worked behind the scenes, the assistants, the staffers, the event planners, the private donors, THEY knew a different version of Erika, a colder version, a strategic version. A version who measured people not by loyalty or character, but by usefulness. And the first cracks in her facade appeared years before this scandal, long before Charlie rose to prominence, long before she became the soft-spoken face of influence, long before she carefully aligned herself with powerful people. See, Erika wasn't born into influence. She built it brick by brick, lie by lie. Manipulation by manipulation. And the deeper Joe and Candace dug into her past, the more they realized her rise wasn't a coincidence. It was an operation. It started with whispers a former staffer remembered seeing. Erika slip into closed-door meetings she wasn't invited to. Listening through cracks in the door, taking notes. Memorizing alliances. A donor claimed he once heard Erika say, "Influence isn't given. It's taken, and only by those who know how to play the game." Candace, while researching privately, spoke to 3 separate insiders who described Erika the exact same way. Calculated, obsessed with optics, terrified of being irrelevant. One insider revealed she kept a literal notebook titled Leverage. Inside it, names, weaknesses, scandals, secrets, information she could use if she needed to. And for years, she didn't need to dot until Charlie Kirk began losing control of his inner circle. That's when Erika's secret plan kicked in. Because behind the scenes, behind the smile, behind the calm tone, behind the public support, Erika was quietly building something far bigger than anyone imagined. Joe discovered emails from as far back as 2021. Emails where Erika was messaging activists, donors, strategists. "I want to be more involved. I want to understand how leadership decisions are made. I think I could help guide the future in ways Charlie can't." But it wasn't the words that shocked Joe. It was the timing. These messages came months before Charlie's internal conflicts became public. Months before staffers began complaining. Months before the organization began fracturing. Meaning Erika knew what was coming. Before it came, almost like someone was feeding her information, Candace confirmed it. According to sources she spoke with, Erika wasn't just receiving updates from the movement, she was feeding information. BACK, a two-way pipeline, and the people she was feeding. Not random staff. Not grassroots organizers. Powerful political strategists. Influential donors. People with ambitions far bigger than Charlie's. That's when Candace dropped the first bombshell on Joe's show. Erika wasn't passive. She wasn't following orders. She was positioning herself. Positioning herself for what? That's where the lies come in. Because Erika told everyone she didn't want influence. She didn't want attention. She didn't want power. She played the role of the supportive, quiet wife who just wants to help. But documents Joe obtained tell a different story. One email from Erika to a political contact read, "Charlie is unpredictable. People trust him too much. We need a stronger, more controlled hand guiding the movement." The word "we" is what terrified Joe. Who was we? Who was she working with? Who was guiding her? Candace answered that question off camera, but the audio leaked online. She had a team. People who trusted her more than they trusted Charlie. She was their back channel, and he had no idea. And then came the second major revelation, the one that truly shattered the illusion Erika spent years creating. Someone sent Joe a private transcript, a leaked conversation between Erika and a donor. In it, she says, "Charlie lets emotions get in the way. I don't. That's what makes me effective." Joe froze when he read it, because Erika has always played the emotional one, the soft one, the spiritual one, but behind the scenes. She was colder than Charlie ever knew. And this is where the lies get dangerous. Because according to Candace, Erika didn't just hide her conversations. She hid entire relationships with people who hated Charlie's influence, people who wanted him weakened, people who saw Erika as the perfect entry point into the movement. Candace looked into the camera and said, the people she was talking to weren't random. They were people with power, people with agendas, people who wanted control. Erika played innocent in public, but emails, transcripts, screenshots all told a different story. A story of a woman who monitored Charlie's allies, tracked his disagreements, documented his vulnerabilities, and reported them privately to people he didn't even know she spoke to. But the biggest question was why? Why was Erika lying? Why was she hiding her connections? Why was she tracking Charlie's internal decisions like a spy? Why was she feeding intel to political heavyweights? That's when Joe pulled out the page that made Candace physically gasp during filming. Handwritten note in Erika's handwriting found in the same folder as the transcript. 1 line, 12 words, Charlie trusts me. He will never see what I'm becoming. The first big lie didn't come from Erika's emails. It didn't come from her notebooks. It didn't come from the transcripts Joe found, or the donors who whispered warnings, or the staffers who said she was too quiet to trust. It came from a phone call. A call she swore under oath she never made. A call she denied for years, a call that was wiped from her device. But not from the other person's. That person. J.D. Vance. The internet had always laughed at the rumors. No way Erika and J.D. ever had secret conversations. No way she'd talk politics behind Charlie's back. No way she had influence like that. But Joe didn't laugh when he heard the recording. Candace didn't smile. Jamie didn't even blink, because the moment J.D.'s voice came through the speakers calm, composed, measured, it became clear. Erika had been lying to Charlie, and to everyone else. For years, and to everyone else. For years. The recording begins with J.D. saying, "You were right. He's slipping, and the movement can't afford instability." Erika replies, her voice colder, sharper, more calculated than anyone has ever heard. Charlie thinks because he built this, he'll always control it. But leadership isn't sentimental. It's strategic. Candace's eyes widened when she heard it. Strategic, Joe muttered. She's talking like a strategist, not a spouse. The call goes deeper, J.D. asks. Does he know you're advising? U.S. Erika laughs. Not a light laugh, not a nervous laugh, but a knowing, confident laugh. He'll never know. He trusts me too much. Candace slammed her hand on the table at that part. That right there is the lie. She told the entire world she wasn't involved in any political strategy. She told everyone she was just supporting her husband. And now we hear this, her advising J.D. Vance behind the scenes while Charlie was in the dark. The internet lost its mind, but the recording wasn't over. J.D.'s voice lowered, and if he pushes back, Erika answered. Then we remove him. Not forcibly, strategically. Let the donors redirect their confidence. Let the board question his decisions. Let him feel isolated enough to step aside on his own. Joe paused the audio there. Do you understand how cold that is? Kay asked the room. She wasn't talking about disagreeing with Charlie. She was talking about phasing him out. Strategically, emotionally, politically. Using his own trust against him. Candace nodded. She wasn't the sweet, silent supporter. She was the architect of his collapse. And then came the first twist. The twist that rewrote everything. Joe pulled another document from the folder. A calendar entry. A meeting invite. A date and time stamped 3 months before Charlie's public meltdown. 3 months before. Staffers began leaving. 3 months before donors started pulling back. The invite was sent to J.D. Vance, Erika, 2 unnamed strategists, a political consultant whose name was redacted, title of the meeting, Leadership, Realignment, Private Strategy. Candace stared at the page like it was radioactive. Realignment. Leadership, realignment. And Charlie wasn't there. His name isn't even on the list. Joe nodded slowly, because Erika didn't want him in the room. Screenshots leaked from the meeting chat. Keep this off Charlie's radar. He will push back if he knows. We need her guidance more than his. She understands the bigger picture. She's more stable emotionally. She's easier to work with. People online were screaming, easier to work. With she wanted HI's position. Erika was replacing him. They were holding secret leadership meetings without Charlie. How is this not treason? But the twist keeps twisting. Because Joe flipped the page and revealed the part that made Candace physically recoil. A note in Erika's handwriting scrawled across the margin. Position achievable if perception shifts. Candace repeated it slowly, disbelieving. Position achievable if perception shifts. Meaning, she needed Charlie to look weak before they could push him aside. Joe nodded. This wasn't passive. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't her being dragged into politics. This was a plan. But the first twist wasn't just that Erika plotted behind Charlie's back. It was who fed the recording to Joe Rogan. An anonymous message had been sent to Joe's producer with one line, "You're looking in the wrong direction. Start with a call." Everything began there. Attached was a single audio file, the J.D. Vance call. Joe's team verified it, unedited, raw. Untouched METATA. It didn't come from J.D.'s phone. It didn't come from Charlie's team. It came from inside Erika's circle. Someone close, someone trusted, someone who knew exactly what this recording could destroy. The internal leaker sent one more message. She lied to all of you. She lied to him. She lied about the call. But the call isn't the worst lie. The worst lie is what she said after it. Joe dropped the second audio file onto the desk like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Candace froze. What did she say after? Joe swallowed hard. Something that changes everything. He pressed play. Erika's voice. When Charlie breaks, I'll be the hero they run to. Candace covered her mouth with her hands. Joe closed his eyes. Jamie whispered, "Oh my God." The recording continued. They think I'm emotional. They think I'm harmless. They think I'm loyal. Let them. That's how I win. Silence swallowed the room. The audience wasn't breathing. The chat was exploding in real time. Because the first twist wasn't the secret call, or the meeting, or the strategy notes, or the internal betrayal. The twist was realizing Erika wasn't reacting to Charlie's downfall. She was engineering it, and this was just the beginning. The first recording was already enough to make the internet spiral. Hearing Erika calmly discuss removing Charlie, strategizing behind his back, smoothing her voice into a silk blade every time she said his name. It was more than anyone expected. But what came next? The second recording was the kind of leak that doesn't just ruin reputations. It shatters entire movements. Joe Rogan warned the audience before he played it. I want everyone listening to understand. This recording wasn't meant for anyone outside a very private room. This is darker. This is colder. This is deliberate. And if the person who leaked it gets caught, their career, maybe their life, is over. Candace leaned forward slowly. Her hands were clasped tightly. Her eyes were locked on Joe. "Just play it," she whispered. So he did. The recording begins with muffled chatter. A door closing, footsteps, a glass being set down on a table. And then Erika's voice, not the sweet, soft, supportive version she shows online. Not the Gentile designed for branding version, but the real version, the one insiders had warned about. The one staffers described as emotionless and calculating. She said, "Charlie doesn't understand influence. He thinks it's about being loud, being visible, being everywhere. But real influence." She paused. You can hear ice clinking in a drink. Real influence is invisible. Another voice enters. Male, confident, smooth, a voice Joe later identified as a political operative, connected to a powerful donor network. He responds, "You've positioned yourself well. People like you. They trust you. They underestimate you." That's a lethal combination. Erika exhaled softly. I've been working on this for years, waiting for the right fractures, the right tensions, the right mistakes. The operative laughs, and Charlie makes plenty of those. Erika quieter, and he never listens. He never sees the consequences. He never sees how people react to him. But they tell me, they come to me. They vent to me. The operative speaks again, voice lower. You're the stabilizer, the calm one, the fixer. They already trust you more than they trust him. Then comes the sentence that breaks the internet in half. Erika whispers, "That's the whole point." Candace covered her mouth when she heard it in the studio. Joe rubbed his forehead, like he was physically in pain. But the recording kept going. The operative asks, "Do you think he's close to losing control?" Erika replies, "He's already losing it. He just doesn't know yet." The operative, "And when he cracks?" Erika, I step forward. The entire internet stops breathing. Then Erika drops the second bomb. I've prepared for this. I've built relationships he never bothered with. I know which donors want him gone. I know which board members question his judgment. I know which allies feel betrayed. She pauses, and I know how to guide them gently toward the conclusion that I'm the better choice. Candace nearly jumps out of her seat. The better choice. She wanted his position. This was never about supporting him. This was about taking over. Joe nodded. This was a coup. But the worst part? The recording isn't done, the operative asks. And what if Charlie fights back? Erika's voice turns icy. He won't. He can't. He's too emotional. He'll implode. All we have to do is push. Candace's eyes widened. Push. Push how? Joe flipped to another document in the folder. Here's how. The recording continues. I've already planted concerns. Small ones. Questions. Doubts. Comments about his decision-making. His mood. His stress. People think they'd noticed it on their own, but I guided it. The operative chuckles. Subtle sabotage. Classic. Erika. It's not sabotage. It's reality. I'm just reshaping the narrative. Reshaping the narrative. The internet exploded. INFLUENCERS posted meltdown videos. Political TikTok went feral. Twitter drowned in nuclear takes. But Erika wasn't done exposing herself. Not even close. She continued. Charlie's biggest weakness is that he thinks everyone loves him, but they don't. They tolerate him. They follow him because they have to. But they follow me because they want to. The operative, and when the time comes, Erika, they'll choose me. Joe paused the recording. There's more, he said quietly. Much more. Candace's voice shook. Joe, you're telling me she plotted a psychological campaign against her own husband? Tracked his weaknesses, fed those weaknesses. 2 political operatives and planned to step into HIS role once he broke. Joe nodded. And JD, is he aligned with this plan? Erika laughs. A chilling, confident laugh. JD knows. JD supports it. He doesn't say much, but he understands that Charlie is unstable. He believes I'm the future. Candace went dead silent. Joe blinked slowly. Jamie whispered something under his breath. Because. That was the real reveal. Not the plotting. Not the manipulation. Not the power-hungry ambition. But the fact that J.D. Vance, one of the most influential figures in the movement, was aware of Erika's plan. And didn't stop it. Joe set the folder down. This wasn't a quiet betrayal. This was a coordinated operation. Candace exhaled sharply, and the public still has no idea. They think she's just emotional, just sweet, just supportive. But behind closed doors, Joe closed his eyes. She's building something. Something Charlie never saw coming. Something the public still doesn't understand. And something that only gets darker from here. Because the final line of the recording, the one that went viral instantly, was this. Erika says softly, "When this is over, Charlie won't be my problem anymore. He'll be my stepping stone." The moment Joe Rogan played the second recording, the moment Erika's voice said, "When this is over, Charlie will be my stepping stone," the world didn't just react. It detonated every corner of the internet, from political Twitter to conservative TikTok, to church Facebook groups, to Instagram meme pages, to Reddit chaos threads erupted at the same time. Politicians were texting each other. Influencers were going live from their bathrooms. Donors were calling emergency meetings. Staffers were quietly unfollowing Erika online. And Charlie's inner circle. They looked like they just watched an execution. The first public explosion came from a major conservative commentator who tweeted, "I've heard the audio. If true, Erika's been running a shadow operation under Charlie's nose. This is treacherous." Then another commentator, "How do you say I support my husband on stage and he'll be my stepping stone off camera?" Within minutes, #Erika exposed hit over 2 million tweets. Then J.D. Vance's team responded, and their reaction only made everything worse. A spokesperson issued a statement. "Any recordings involving Senator Vance are selectively edited and taken out of context." That phrase, "selectively edited immediately," sent the internet into a frenzy. People do not use that line unless they're hiding something. Comments under the statement exploded. If it was fake, you'd call it fake. Out of context means it's real. JD is in this. Is this an operation? Meanwhile, Charlie's own supporters were in shambles. One of his closest advisors went live on Instagram, eyes red, breathing hard. "I'm not going to say much, but we've known something felt wrong. We just didn't know it was this." Another insider posted to Twitter, "I warned Charlie. He didn't listen. He kept saying Erika would never. Now look." The comments were brutal. "You tried to save him. Charlie trusted the wrong person. Erika played him like a chess piece. She was the problem all along." But the biggest meltdown? The donors, 2 major donors, released public statements distancing themselves from Erika. One said, "We are deeply concerned by the implications of these recordings." Another wrote, "We were misled about Mrs. Kirk's role and motives." And a leaked donor email posted anonymously revealed even more panic. If Erika has been influencing strategic decisions, we need to evaluate the entire leadership. Structure. Evaluate the entire leadership. Structure, meaning Erika's blueprint is blowing up the organization she wanted to control. But the religious world reacted even harder. Pastors, who once praised Erika, began posting cryptic messages. "Beware of wolves," in soft voices. "Not everyone who whispers scripture walks in truth. God reveals hidden motives in due time." Christian TikTok went ballistic. She manipulated a whole movement. This is why discernment matters. She was plotting like a villain in a Netflix series. Why does she sound like she rehearsed the betrayal? Even Erika's former friends began distancing themselves. One posted, "I love Erika, but I can't defend this. Not after hearing those recordings." Another wrote, "Something always felt off. Now I understand why." But the most shocking reaction came from inside Charlie's own circle. A former TPUSA staffer anonymously posted, "She had private strategy meetings. She kept separate notes. She tracked Charlie's mistakes and weaknesses. We thought she was being supportive. Now we know she was collecting intel." Someone else leaked a text. "Erika always asked questions about decision-making. Now we know why." Meanwhile, conservative talk show hosts were ripping the story apart. This is Shakespeare-level betrayal. She wasn't supporting Charlie, she was staging This is political manipulation at its finest. That woman was planning a quiet coup. How many years was she doing this? On Twitter, the public split into factions. Team Charlie, Team JD, Team Candace, Team Erika is Finnish team. This is bigger than Erika team. Exposed the whole operation, but while the internet screamed, Erika stayed silent. Completely, unnervingly, tactically silent. No statement. No denial. No clarification. No emotional posts. Nothing. And that silence terrified people more than the recordings. Because if Erika wasn't defending herself, if she wasn't scrambling, if she wasn't panicking, if she wasn't even pretending to be hurt or shocked, what did that mean? Was she planning something? Calling her contacts? Trying to contain the leak? Figuring out which insider betrayed her? Or was she preparing to drop something even bigger? Then, as if the universe wanted to make things even worse, a burner account posted a message at 3:12 a.m. She's not scared. She's furious. And she's about to expose someone much higher up. The internet froze. Who? Higher up. JD, a donor, a strategist, a board member, someone from TPUSA, someone from DC. Nobody knew, but everyone knew this. Things were no longer contained to Erika. This was spiraling upward into politics, into power, into national influence, and the scariest reaction came from someone inside. Charlie's Circle, who tweeted, "If the final recording drops, the entire movement collapses." Everyone thought the worst was behind them. The secret call, the stepping stone comment, the leadership realignment meeting, the strategic manipulation, the lies, the plotting, the political operative, J.D. Vance's involvement, the donors panicking, Charlie's Circle collapsing, Erika's silence. People thought that was the peak. They were wrong, because the final recording, the one every insider whispered about, the one Joe refused to play at first, the one Candace begged him not to release, the one the anonymous leaker said would burn the entire building down. That recording surfaced, and it wasn't leaked by the operative, not by a staffer, not by a donor, not by someone trying to take the movement down. It was leaked by someone much closer, someone who had everything to lose, someone who realized Erika wasn't just plotting to remove Charlie, she was plotting to replace him. The recording begins with a faint audio glitch, like the device was hidden in a purse or coat. Voices shuffle in the background. A door closes. Then Erika speaks, not in frustration, not in anger, but in total control. A level of calm so unnerving it genuinely doesn't sound human. She says, "He thinks I'm emotional. He thinks I'm dependent on him. But he doesn't understand the position he's in. He's already lost the movement. I just need him to realize it." A man's voice responds, someone older, authoritative, familiar. Joe later confirmed it belonged to a board member. He asks, "And if he doesn't step aside?" Erika answers without hesitation, "Then we break him publicly." Quietly, but thoroughly. Silence. A chilling silence. Like everyone in the room understood the weight of those words. The board member asks, "And what about JD? What role does he play?" Erika replies, "He knows his part. He understands he can't become anything later if Charlie stays the face. His future depends on mine." That line sent the internet into meltdown. But it gets darker, because then someone else speaks, a voice no one expected. A voice that made Candace physically recoil in the studio. A woman, cold, quiet, calculated. She says, "You're doing the right thing. Charlie's not stable enough for what's coming. The movement needs someone controlled, someone predictable." And then she adds, "Someone like you." Candace's jaw dropped. Joe leaned back, eyes blown wide open. Because the voice belonged to Erika Kirk, JD's wife. The internet lost its mind. Wait, what? Erika was in the meeting. She was helping Erika. This is a power coup. They were all in on IT, but the recording wasn't finished. Erika laughed, not a normal laugh. A soft, terrifying whisper laugh. Then she said the line that killed the internet when he finally breaks. I'll be standing where he stood, and everyone will think it was his idea. Candace nearly fell out of her chair. Joe looked sick. But the twist wasn't Erika. It wasn't JD. It wasn't the board member. It wasn't the political operatives. It wasn't Usha. The real twist was the ending. Because as the meeting ended, as chairs scraped the floor, as people gathered their coats, as Erika whispered final instructions, another sound entered the recording. A click. A shuffle. A breath. Someone moving the device. Someone picking it up. Someone who had been secretly recording the entire meeting. A familiar voice, soft, scared, shaking, muttered, "Oh God. He needs to hear this." The entire internet froze. Because that voice belonged to Erika's own assistant. The same assistant people always saw carrying her bags. The same assistant who rode with her to events. The same assistant who knew her schedules, her notes, her secrets. The same assistant Erika trusted more than anyone. And that is who leaked the recording. Her assistant, her closest ally. Her shadow. Her right hand. Her confidant. And the assistant didn't leak it for drama. She leaked it because she realized the truth. Erika wasn't planning a political move. She wasn't planning a leadership shift. She wasn't planning a strategic transition. She was planning a takeover. The assistant whispered one final line into the recording. "Charlie, I hope you hear this before she destroys you." The clip ends, silence. Then Joe said, "That was the worst thing I've ever heard," Candace added. And the craziest part? This still isn't the final lie. There's one more recording. One that reveals the real reason she wanted power. The internet screamed, "Drop IT. Show us the final recording. What is the real motive? Don't leave us here." But Joe shook his head. "That last recording. We can't play it yet. It's too big, too dangerous, too connected." And he ended the podcast, leaving the world with one burning question. What is Erika's real endgame? If you're still breathing after that final recording, if your hands are shaking, if your brain is still trying to process the fact that Erika Vance, JD Vance, a board member, and Erika were all in the same room, then understand something. This wasn't a scandal. This wasn't gossip. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was an operation, a coordinated move, a planned takeover, a political coup disguised as a supportive marriage. And the only reason we know ANY of it is because Erika's own assistant risked everything to leak the truth. Now I need you tell me in the comments, do you think Erika was planning to replace Charlie completely? Or was she working for someone even bigger behind the scenes? Tell me, what role do you think Erika Vance really played? Was she advising Erika? Or was she pulling strings the whole time? Tell me, do you believe JD Vance's team knew what Erika was doing? Or did Erika manipulate them too? Tell me, why do you think the assistant finally snapped? Was she terrified? Guilty? Or did she discover something we haven't heard yet? And here's the big one. What do you think is in the final recording Joe refused to play? What truth is so dangerous, so explosive, so politically deadly, that even Joe Rogan backed away from it? Hit like if this episode left you speechless. Hit like if this story is getting darker, deeper, and way more sinister than anyone expected. Hit like if you think Charlie deserves to know everything, not the edited version Erika fed him. Hit subscribe if you want episode 2, because the next chapter exposes the assistant's full testimony, the real mastermind behind Erika's rise, why JD and OSHA were involved, and the missing final recording that could take down every name in that room. Turn on notifications right now, because when that last recording drops, the internet will not survive it. Now drop your theories in the comments. Who do you think Erika was working for?